views matter.
रेडियो जिंदगी 1170 AM पे वेलकम लिसनर्स, मैं हूं आपके साथ में ईरा एंड वेलकम टू द शाह पिरोली लॉ शो. Shah Piroli joins us once again from now till 11 AM. He does join us every Wednesday morning from 10 AM to 11 AM. And let me quickly remind you that Shah Piroli is the founder, president and managing attorney of the Shah Piroli Law Group, which is right here in Newark. He is a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association as well as the State Bar of California. He is a passionate advocate of human rights, civil rights, social action and social services, and he has a strong interest in and knowledge of the political legal system here in the US. He formed his law group to work on the causes he feels most ardent about. The law group focuses on the immigration law with an emphasis on employment-based immigration, and he does help his clients all over the US. And his offices are in Newark, San Francisco and Washington DC. So listeners, अगर आप चाहते हैं कि आप शाह पिरोली से बात करें या अपॉइंटमेंट लेके उनसे मिल सके, खास करके अगर आपको सवाल होते हैं एम्प्लॉयमेंट बेस्ड इमिग्रेशन को लेके या किसी भी इमिग्रेशन को लेके सवाल होते हैं, आप जरूर पूछ सकते हैं. यू कैन कॉल अस राइट अवे ड्यूरिंग द शो ऑन द स्टूडियो नंबर 510-657-1170. We really encourage you to call in during the show and ask him questions while he is here. You can ask him one question. He will definitely be able to give you some sort of advice. आप फोन कीजिए 510-657-1170 पर, या फिर अगर आप चाहते हैं कि आप उनसे मिल लें या फिर उनसे बात कर लें, प्राइवेट कंसल्टेशन कर लें, तो उनका नंबर रहेगा ऑफिस का 510-742-5887 510-742-5887. His website is piralilaw.com. That's PEERALLYLAW.com. Hi Shah, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Yara. Good morning, everybody. So, I know it's kind of a time when we are kind of a little bit in a tricky situation, 2020, with all this good and bad. But good morning to everybody. So, hopefully, whatever I'm going to tell you today is my opinion. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any questions. So, today we're going to talk, of course, about the famous thing that happened last week on the visa bulletin. It's one of a kind. It happened before in 2007, but it doesn't happen very often. But we saw a jump both on EB2 and EB1 for India, and a lot of people now have a lot of questions what's going on. So on your side, I don't know if you have any questions, but otherwise I'll just go ahead and talk a little bit about what has happened and what can be done.
Definitely. You could go ahead and talk about that, and if we have a caller, I will let you know.
Perfect. So, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, we saw a huge leap in the visa bulletin when it comes to the situation that we have, and right now it is a lot of people have filed under EB2 back in the days. Now suddenly we see EB3 going up. Well, not on the processing dates, but at least on the filing dates, which allows people to actually get at least an EAD and even an advance parole and even benefit from what we call AC-21. And in this case, we saw a jump on that EB3. A lot of people who are on EB2 now are thinking about moving to EB3. And the questions we're getting a lot are, of course, for one, I will go over the frequently asked questions I'm getting pretty much on a daily basis right now. But the issue that we are facing right now is on the fact that we are in a situation where people have to decide should they stay on EB2 or move to EB3. What we have to do is first analyze what is your priority date. One of the things I look at when I look at a case, if people want to downgrade, is your date close to the EB2. For example, let's say right now we're 2011. Let's say we're 3 months behind on the 2011. Suddenly we see people wanting to downgrade. So we have to look at the risk of downgrading the entire thing, and is it a good thing to move to EB3? first of all, to move to EB3, I was talking about that a few weeks ago, and I think we talked about the amendment. But there's another way to do it, is to refile a new I-140, because using the same labor certification, you can refile a new I-140 and concurrently also file for your I-485. The part which I'm not sure right now, which we are looking at, is can we do it under premium?
Okay. Shah, we have a caller over here. Let's take this call.
Yes.
Hello, you're on air with Attorney Shah Pirali.
Hi, this is Anu, Mr. Shah. I have a question regarding the recent movement of EB3 and EB2 priority dates. So my question is, if I apply as a dependent for I-485 with my husband, will I be at a later point be able to again apply through my employer with my priority date for adjustment of status? So my husband is going to apply as EB3 and I have EB2 petition approved. And at a later point, if EB2 final action dates come current, will I be able to again apply for I-485 with my husband as dependent at that point?
Well, the good question. You can file, because if you file with your husband, he's the main applicant. You will be able to basically kind of only be a dependent, right? So let's say later on you have your own I-140 and you want to use that one instead of the EB3 that your husband is using. For example, let's say an EB2 is doing better on the final dates. You can easily kind of this time shift the whole I-485 from the EB3 to the EB2 and change it, use yours, put it as main, and use his, put it as dependent. So you don't even have to refile the I-485, you can just shift it. So the answer is yes, yeah.
Oh, I see. So for the shifting, any employer can actually shift that, irrespective of whether... So the first petition, I-1485, will be applied through his employer, and later while shifting, my employer can just shift that I-485 application that his company did?
Yes, because the I-485 doesn't belong to the company, it belongs to you.
I see, okay.
To your husband. So anybody can do that. You don't even need the employer to do that. As long as the employer gives you the go, your own attorney can do it. That's not a problem.
I see. Thank you so much, sir. I think this is what I have. Thank you so much for clarification.
No problem.
Thank you. Thank you very much for calling in. And if you'd like to discuss this in detail, or if you have any other question that you'd like to ask Attorney Shah Pirali, you can call his office number also, 510-742-5887. That's 510-742-5887. Listeners, अगर आपको कोई भी सवाल है, आप अभी फोन कर सकते हैं. खास करके अभी जो EB2, EB3 का confusion चल रहा है, lot of people have questions. So if you also have a question, if your case is pending and if you'd like to have some clarity, आप फोन कर सकते हैं अभी on 510-657-1170. That's 510-657-1170. And you can also get in touch with Attorney Shah Pirali and his team after the show on the number 510-742-5887. 510-742-5887. The website is piralilaw.com. That's PEERALLYLAW.com. Yes, Attorney Shah, let's continue.
Yes, indeed. This is one question that was asked earlier by the call I was going to cover. So just to kind of remind people, if both you and your spouse has an I-140 approved, one is EB3 or both are EB2, you can downgrade one and leave one. What I recommend people is to leave the one which is closest to the dates, the lowest date. For example, let's say one is 2012, one 2013. Convert the 2013, keep the 2012. The reason for that is that there's a better chance of reaching that date. And then what happens, let's say you file in the EB3 and then suddenly the final action for EB2 is happening, you can always just move that I-45 to the other, to your spouse, and you become the dependent or vice versa, and ultimately get your green card faster. So this is kind of a move that a lot of people are asking me. So look into that, and if you need more details, give me a call, 510-742-5887. Also, I just wanted to let you know we are taking cases right now. Up to the 20th, we will be taking, well, actually the 18th, we're going to be taking cases. Unless the visa bulletin becomes same for the other month, then we will continue taking the I-45. We are handling a lot of cases for people who their companies are too busy or they don't want to handle, and of course our existing clients. So we still have capacity to take few more cases, so feel free to reach out, 510-742-5887. And we are doing both the downgrade and the I-45. So for those who basically have just the I-45, also we are handling those cases too. So please let us know if you need help. One of the things that the question that I'm getting, what are the risks? Well, this is the issue that is going to be really kind of tricky. What are the risks? The risk is, the biggest risk I see is when you file this new I-140 to the same labor certification. If most of the people who have gotten their approvals and with good priority dates, all this happened under the Obama administration, right? And at that time, they were a lot more lenient when it comes to filing cases. But now with the memo of Trump, I think 2017, every case you file, they dig into the entire case prior to that. So that means if we are filing a new I-140 under EB2 on the same labor certification, they will go into the labor certification in details, checking if everything is right before they approve your EB2. Most of the time it's not a problem because most cases have no issues. But if in case there are some issues which were not really an issue at the time under the Obama administration, they can come back and take both away, your EB2 and EB3. So be careful, make sure when you're filing, do it properly and don't contradict yourself, etc. And I know a lot of people are just jumping into it. They will go to another lawyer because right now most of the lawyers who do immigration are already overwhelmed, and they will go to regular lawyers who just wants to make a few bucks. They will take the case. So in those cases, you can put yourself in danger. So be very, very careful what you're doing. Now, excuse me, I'm having and the other thing is just like we are seeing another problem that a lot of people are facing. For one, many people have moved from company A to company B while the I-140 with company A was approved. They used that to move to B and getting an extension and transfer. In the meantime, company B has not started their green card or the labor certification process. And then if they start now, of course, it will take around maybe 8 months to 1 year to get an approval before they even reach the level of the I-140. And in this case, what do they do? One of the options, of course, if the previous company still have an I-140 approved, and you still want to go back to work for them, you can do that and file your adjustment of status. Now, if the case is not under EB2, when you go back and move to that company, they have to downgrade. When you downgrade the case, you're filing like a new I-140, you have to prove ability to pay until the date. So that means if you're not working there and you have the issue of ability to pay, that I-140 will never get approved. So this is very, very important when you're trying to do that, because you're doing two things. You're moving back to the previous company, and you're requesting them to file a new I-140 for you, and in this case, they have to prove their ability to pay. And one of the ways usually to prove ability to pay is that when you're already working with that company, they're paying you that amount, then this issue is not even present. But if you have a situation you are not working for them, they have to show a net profit or net current asset amount that will cover that prevailing wage. And that's where it gets tricky because many companies, especially small companies, they don't really have a lot of profit because they pay mostly the employees, etc., etc. So be very careful before you jump and go backward. You need to know that they have this ability, etc., before they just want to file your EB2 downgrade. And that's going to be another problem. Now, talking about those few problems, let's talk about the advantage of moving to EB3 if you're on EB2 and your dates is kind of is current in terms of the filing. The advantage, of course, is pretty big. For one, you've been waiting probably for years to get in the line, and being able to file this new case, what will this case through at least the adjustment of status will bring you basically into the line, and as such, few things will happen. Number one, you'll get an EAD. Number two, you can get an advance parole. Number three, after 6 months, you can do what we call AC-21 portability under Section 104C, if I'm not mistaken, which basically says you can port the entire case. You can move the entire case from one company to another. That means, for example, let's say you were working for A and you were moving to B, like the callers were saying earlier, they have to basically file a new case for you under labor certification. But if you have the adjustment of status file and it's pending, you can port that case. You can take that case completely from company A, you move to another company, as long as you meet the two requirements. Number one, 180 days has passed since the I-45 was filed. And number two, you move to a same or similar position. So there are a lot of advantage, of course, to downgrade. But many people are also worried that, hey, their downgrading is one thing, but the problem is bigger than downgrading. This is only a filing date. That means the real dates of processing the green card might never happen, or they might just keep delaying it until further notice, and that means you stay on EAD for years. And that's kind of worrying a lot of people, because as much as they want to have that EAD and that flexibility, they also worry that they will be stuck like that forever. So the answer is simple. It's like in those cases, you might be able to upgrade back to EB2 if EB2 moves, or just wait on this. At least you have something, and especially if you have kids, you can log the date, etc., etc. So it is interesting to actually go for the EB3 downgrade. Now, another thing I forgot to mention is that the EB3 downgrade, like we're calling it right now, is not something common. It happened before for mostly in the Chinese community, because at one point EB3 surpassed EB2, but many people didn't really do the transfer or the change. Now, what happened is that most of the things I'm telling you are in theory, because very, very few lawyers have really done the downgrading in practice. Okay, so I repeat that. It's in theory. In theory it works. In legally it works, but nobody has done it in practice. So that means we don't have any kind of... Yes.
We have a caller.
We have one call.
Yeah.
The caller.
Hello, you're on air with Attorney Shapirali.
Hi, Attorney Shah. This is Anita calling. So I have a question regarding my birth certificate. So I'm a H4 EAD person, and the primary petitioner is my husband. And in my birth certificate in India, in South India mainly, we have the initial, father's name as the initial. So my name in the birth certificate is N. Anita, but the name in my passport is Anita Nalaswamy. So if I just get an affidavit saying that Yen is the expanded form of Nalaswamy, will it help? That's one question. And second question is, my mom's name is misspelled in my birth certificate. I'm not a primary, but I'm just H4. So if she gives a affidavit saying that her name is misspelled and she gives a correct name, affidavit will be enough, or should we do something more?
Okay. Yeah, that's a very common thing, especially for the past days in India because of the situation of the I-45. What you need to do, you need to get two affidavits. It's better, but not from your mom. If possible, if you can get it from someone independent, like maybe a cousin or a friend or something like that. And also supplement the entire case with what we call secondary evidence, like a ration card, medical records, school records. And all this has to really point out to where the mistake is, and you put a declaration of yours also stating that those names were misspelled, etc., or a typo happened in it, or something like that.
Okay. But in India, usually in all our school certificate, it is just the initials and Ken Anita. So, but when we come to US, it's like the passport says Anita Nalaswamy. So,
yeah.
Basically, I didn't change it to my husband's name, so it's just a full form of my father's name.
Okay. Well, you need to find something that points out to this name because it's important to have that. So right now you can always file in a skeleton of the case, and then wait for them, file whatever you have, and wait for them. If they are not satisfied, they will send you some kind of fee. But it's always good to be prepared in the meantime. Try to get maximum information that point to the right.
Okay, so yesterday I got an affidavit from India from my mom for my name, saying that like I was born to her, and this is the expanded form, and we went to the attorney and magistrate and got that thing. So I think so. Will it help?
Yeah, it will help. Anything that points out to the right direction will help, as long as it's something of authority.
Okay. But and for my mom's change, somebody else has to do it, right? For my mom's spelling, the misspelled one?
Yeah, someone who is maybe an auntie, an uncle, or someone who's born around the same time as your mother, because it's not an affidavit of birth, it's just an affidavit of name, okay?
Okay, so it can be my younger aunt also, right? It's who's younger to my mom.
Yeah, it can be. It's always better to get someone elder or the same age.
Elder? Okay, that helps.
Okay.
And we can just get the affidavit and have it ready.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you, Shah. Thanks.
Well, you're welcome. Wish you all the best.
Right. Thank
you.
Yes. Thank you. Remember, we have another caller. Thank you for calling in. Hello, you're on air with Attorney Shapir Ali.
Yeah, hello. Can I talk to Shapir Ali?
He's here. He's listening. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have one question. I have some typo in marriage certificate. So is it okay to go just instead of instead of W, that type V? So is it okay? But passport is and all details are correct. So is it okay to have it, or should I get it corrected?
Well, it's not okay, but it is something that can be explained. It's just the pronunciation also in our community sounds sometimes V is called W or something like that. But for the legal pattern of it, the best is whenever you fill the form, there will be a place where it will say other names. So you mention this other name, how it's spelled. And also put a declaration explaining that it was just a type of pronunciation or some kind of other reasons why a W appeared instead of a V. And that should be enough. If they're not satisfied, then you'll have to do like just I was telling the previous caller, get 2 affidavits and put it in there. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much for calling in and asking your question. Hello, you're on air with Attorney Shapir Ali.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. Can I put my question now?
Yes, please.
Sure, go ahead.
So here is my situation. So my wife is stuck in India with the expired H4 visa. My priority date becomes current, and I couldn't bring her in time, so my green card got processed, so it got approved. So my wife, then H4 cannot be used anymore. So what are my options to bring her? And I think it will take some more time, a long time for me to get her. In the meantime, can I apply a tourist visa? At least I can be here for at least 6 months. She can be here temporarily for 6 months and go back and then wait for the green card.
When did you get your green card, by the way?
This week. I just saw online it got approved.
Okay, so is it employment based? It's employment based, right?
Yes, it is employment based.
Ask your lawyer to file a joinder for her. They might be able to add her on the green card. It's a 50-50, but it does work. So the joint, I forget the form name, but the form number. Hello?
I think it is 824. Applicant to join on approved application.
So see if you can do that. Otherwise, you can apply for a visitor visa, but she has to tell the truth. Her husband is a green card holder, and there's a chance they will deny it. But don't lie on the application. If they agree, they just accept it, then it's fine. She can come here, and then from here, then you can give me a call. We can see if we can, or ask your lawyer to file the joinder, or ultimately, as a green card holder, you can file for your wife. So the answer is yes, you can try the visa, but as long as you tell the truth, there's no problem. But just make sure she doesn't hide the part that you are already a green card holder, okay? If they ask, of course.
Yes.
Okay.
So this adding the applicant to the existing, how long does it take?
I cannot give you timeline anymore, because of the COVID things and everything. It usually doesn't take more than 6 months. But I cannot really tell you right now because I have not done one during the COVID time or even after or before. So it's not, I cannot really give you an exact timing, but usually 6 to 8 months they
Sure, no problem. Yes. So you said what is the name of it? You said adding an applicant to the approved petition. Is that the one?
Yeah, it's a joinder, yes, exactly.
Joinder.
Okay. Thank you so much for taking my call. Appreciate all your help.
No problem. Good luck to you, and let me know if you need any help. Give us a call, 510-742-5887.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so you're welcome.
Thank you very much for calling in. Listeners, if you also have any questions, right now is the time. We have Attorney Shapirali on air with us till 11 a.m. So if you have a question, you can definitely call us during the show, 510-657-1170. That's 510-657-1170. If you would like to get in touch with Attorney Shapirali after the show, if you'd like to discuss anything in detail with him, you can definitely call him up on 510-742-5887. That's 510-742-5887. His website is peerallylaw.com. That's PEERALLYLAW.com. peerallylaw.com. ऑफिस न्यूयॉर्क में है तो अपॉइंटमेंट लेके आप उनकी टीम से मिल सकते हैं, और you can have a virtual consultation. Either way, just pick up the phone and get in touch with them and get more information about their practice on the website peerallylaw.com. Yes, Attorney Shah, let's continue.
Exactly. So interestingly, we are getting a very, very interesting questions today, and of course, a lot of people are kind of still hanging. There's so many difficulties happening right now. Is one good news among so many bad news has happened, and this is actually what we are seeing with that move in the visa Bulletin. But personally, I think it's again, it's my opinion. I think it's a political move because it happened before under Bush, something similar where everything got current. And what has happened is that in the past, since 2009 or something, a lot of people have been moving from EB3 to EB2. And what has happened, all those EB3 cases that were not used was never recaptured. And they were sitting in a basket, and now suddenly they just decided to recapture it and bring it back, and I think that's what caused that jump.
Okay.
And so, any caller?
Yes, we have a caller. Hello, you're on air with Attorney Shapirali.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. I have a question where can we have EB2 and EB3 both together, or why it is called the downgrade from EB2 to EB3? Can we have just one?
Okay. That's a very good question. I forgot to mention that. Okay. When you downgrade it to EB3, since it is attached to one labor certification, you can have only one. It's either one, right? Once you downgrade, you move to EB3. However, nothing prevents you down the road to re-upgrade because your labor certification allows that, right? So now, the other part of the question is that can you have EB3 and EB2 with two different companies? Then, of course, that you can have. But same company, same labor certification, you cannot technically have two on one labor certification. Although a lot of people believe you keep the EB2, I personally don't think so.
Okay.
Hello?
I think he dropped the call. That's okay, sir. I hope that answered your question. If you have any more questions, you can definitely just call us back right away on 510-657-1170. Yes, let's continue, Shah.
Yes, indeed. This is another interesting situation. A lot of people are asking, if I downgrade, what happens to my EB2? Well, if you look at the logic of it, you cannot have two sitting on one labor certification. However, I'm still looking if there's any points of law which has you can keep both under the same labor certification. But since there are none, so I will be in the and decide that you cannot keep both, you have to pick one. But nothing prevents you down the road to refile another I-140 and move back to EB2. Or if you have a different company who file for you, that also is allowed, is permissible. So just make sure that before you make the move, you talk to an attorney. You can call us, even you have your own company attorney. You can call us on 510-742-5887. We can do a consultation, and we can actually decide on those what move is good for you, because it's going to be a case-by-case basis, and a lot of people will just want to think, okay, my friend is doing it, let me do that. And you know how it works, right? Most of the people are mostly like going by the trends, and sometimes the trends might not be good for you. So be very, very careful before you make the move, because you don't want to regret it.
Sure,
so,
we have that caller back with us, whose call got dropped. Hello, you're on air with Attorney Shapirali. Please continue.
Yeah, I just have a follow-up question that how long it takes from EB2 to EB3 and EB3 to EB2, vice versa.
I don't know, because this is rare. This has not happened before, especially for India, and plus now we have the situation of the COVID. But since it is a new I-140 being filed, it's going to take around the same time, which means 8 months or so. Now, the question everybody is asking, can you do it under premium? This, I don't have the answer exact. At this point, some lawyers believe yes, some lawyers believe no. So one of the things that we're going to try when we are filing that is we're going to put the premium in there, and let's see how they react to that. So if they reject the premium, then they will still continue the normal case. But I personally don't believe premium is available, although some people are saying that if it is the same service center, you can do premium. But if you don't do premium, we're talking around 8 months to get an answer. But the good news is that you're eligible to file the adjustment of status when you do that, which means basically you don't have to worry about the date. You're already locking both of them by filing it concurrently.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay? All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for calling in. Listeners, again, let me quickly remind you, if you also have questions, you can call us on 510-657-1170. That's 510-657-1170. And the number for the office of Shapirali Law Group is 510-742-5887. Yes, Attorney Shah.
Yes, so we were talking about the situation right now, of course, about the visa bulletin, and a lot of people are really kind of in a confusion state, happy confusion somehow, but at the same time fearful if downgrade is a good option for them, and that's why I'm saying it's good to, because it's a case-by-case basis. Some people, I recommend them not to downgrade because the dates are too close and taking the risk is not worth it, and some people I say, yeah, it's worth it, why would you not take chances? Now the biggest risk that we are worried about is that if there was some kind of stuff that were omitted and they still approved your case, and especially if you had long RFEs, complicated, etc., if you refile a new I-140, can it jeopardize your case? The answer is yes, because they will look at your case with the new I, and plus things that has been missed in your favor will not be missed, and that can really basically result in a denial of both the EB2 and the EB3. So they will send maybe a notice of intent to revoke, etc. So
Shah, we have another caller. Hello, you're on air with Attorney Shapirali.
Yeah, hi Shah. If the priority date is 2018, is it downgrade or?
Priority date is November 18.
2018.
November 2018, yeah. Then if it's a downgrade or an upgrade, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, whether the downgrade from EB2 to EB3 is recommended or not,
okay,
if the priority date is in 2018.
No, don't downgrade. It's not worth it. Why would you do that? You downgrade only when you have an availability. So just leave that one alone. Don't touch it. It's not recommended to do something that, because when we don't know when you will reach 2018, and that we are expecting another another retrogression in one year, maybe less than that, because once a lot of people are going to start downgrading and filing under EB3, guess what's going to happen to EB3? So no, it's not a good idea in your case to downgrade. Just leave it the way it is, and then if later on it continues and 2018 becomes the same situation as right now, you just go ahead and file the downgrade and file the adjustment of status together. The good thing with the visa bulletin, we get it 1 month in advance, so it gives you time to do all this, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for calling in. Yes, Shah, we don't have a caller right now, but I will let you know, interrupt you when there's another one.
Thank you so much. So, yes, so what we are seeing right now is some great news for India, and we are talking about the October 2020 visa bulletin. I don't even want to say this year. That's kind of an interesting year. I don't know if I should call it interesting, but we really kind of experience things, and we are going to experience worse from what I'm seeing in the coming years, because everything has stopped. The world has stopped somehow, and then went back on track, but then it derailed train, kind of, and now we have all the situation. I don't know if people watched the debate yesterday. It was a real mess, of my opinion. And plus, also, we are talking about one thing that really bothered me, and unfortunately, I cannot ignore it. It's going to affect all of us, by the way, because hearing the president calling on these what they call quote unquote the Proud Boys, these are groups of right-wing racists, right? Basically, so calling on them is really sending the message that people like us are not wanted in America. Unless I'm totally wrong, it's something that we have to watch out, because things are all heading towards racism, and it's not only in America, it's happening pretty much all over the world. It's either race, religion, or caste, or things like that. We just saw the situation, what happened in India, and we saw the situation happening in Syria and stuff like that. So it seems the world is really becoming very, very selfish, and people like us who really don't want to be selfish, it becomes really worrisome for our children, for everybody. But let's pray things get better. But going back to the point is that all this kind of language is definitely going to affect us as immigrants, because at the end of the day, you're going to see a situation where if power is consolidated basically with the right wing, and now we have the Supreme Court judge, and I forgot to mention that, rest in peace, Justice Ginsburg. She was my favorite judge probably in history. So yes, she was one of the justices that really made it for not only for women, for human rights and everything. Rights, yes. Yes, and a lot. She did a lot. So people who don't know her, I studied her when I was in law school. Basically, her life and how she has made it, and it really kind of brought it home, because I had not an easy life also. So I know how it feels, and now losing her is like a big chunk of the justice system has gone away for us. So now having this opposite person coming in, who's unfortunately really under a, I don't want to say it as a justice, but right-wing side, is going to be really worrisome, because justices are appointed for life. So that means even like Trump, you can change him, but justices you won't change, and they will influence the entire system. They vote usually according to their beliefs, etc. And we have seen this with Scalia, even though Scalia was a little bit more gentleman, and Justice Thomas, who officially was supposed to be a black person, but he always sided with whatever he sides with. So I don't really want to analyze all the justices of the Supreme Court. Now we have Justice Roberts, who's really kind of always siding on both sides, but he's also a conservative. And now we are going to have all this. That means if a law goes up to the Supreme Court, there's a chance that it will side on the conservative side, which means back in the days when I say conservative, I was happy because I'm pretty conservative. But now when I hear conservative, I think right wing. So the entire system is going to change. What we know about America is going to change. It's already changing. We have all those things happening: virus, fascism, hate, fire. Now, earthquake, you name it, it's basically piling up, and climate change is going to be big. So that's another thing. I'm saying all this just not to just say it because I feel like saying them. I'm saying that because this is all going to affect the immigrant community, because if you think there is a shortage of things, that means immigrants are usually the one who are going to pay the price first. Immigrants and minorities. So that means what you're seeing, good stuff happening now, might not be happening ever again. Mm-hmm. And that's the part that worries all of us, because we always believe in America, proud of it. I've always been proud of America. When I was not born here, the country that gave me a chance, gave me a lot of things, but at the same time, the thing that I liked with America, I could criticize it. I could stand up and say, this is wrong, this is right. But if we lose that, that means half of what America means is gone. And that's the part that is worrisome for our children, etc. So we need to watch out, because I see a lot of people who are arguing with me, oh, you're not American because you're not saying Trump is doing right and everything. No, I love America, but I don't have to love the government. Just like I love my country, I don't have to love the government. And the truth is that if you love your country, you should stand against those who want to destroy it.
What is not right. Shall we have a caller over here?
Yes,
hello, you're on air with Attorney Shapir Ali.
Hi, this is Nomita here, and first of all, sir, thank you so much for your valuable services. I have a quick question today. My process is in EB2, but my priority date definitely falls under current EB3, and that's the reason I was wondering if I can downgrade it to EB3, but question here is, my son, he is currently 18 years old, and will it be advisable to downgrade to EB3 and apply for I-485? And in case of EAD, will he be able to use that? Or let's say before the date becomes as in final action date, if he turns 21, what are the options? Will there be any issues if we use this EAD, or are there any other options? What do you suggest?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question too. I've been getting that too. Yes, I would highly recommend you do it, because once you file it, you kind of lock your child date on that date. Although, because of the new system of filing date, we don't know how they're going to treat it. Usually once a child age out past 21, it falls under what we call the Child Status Protection Act. What I would recommend, if you get a chance to downgrade it, get him his work permit, etc. And then if EB2 becomes current on the final date, then you upgrade again and use the same I-45. Hopefully, it's very hard to tell you at this point if he will be able to fall, depending how much time the case takes to become current and get the green card, if he will fall under the Child Status Protection Act. But at this point, yes, I would recommend you go for the downgrade and then watch out for the time, and if the EB2 does better on the final date, you just upgrade to there. Okay? Hello?
Okay.
Does that,
so for this Child Act, right, normally they do consider the final action date. I mean, that protection is only for the final action date, isn't it?
Yes.
So, and that's the reason I wanted to understand, in between, let's say, in these next 2 years, if he uses his EAD, and then the final action date is still not there, that means, let's say, he will not be able to continue, right? But after that, will there be any problem? Because obviously, if he won't be able to continue, I might have to change his visa to F1. But then will there be any issues if we move him on F1, however, in between the EAD was used?
Yeah, that's the interesting part, because the final action date does not really log the Child Status Protection Act, you're right. And that's what I'm saying. By the way, what is your priority date?
It's 9th April 2014.
Okay. It's at EB2. I don't know. We might see a jump on EB2, by the way, maybe the next year or two, because the reason for that is because a lot of people are going to downgrade to EB3, which will leave space for EB2, okay? But having said that, I think you should still file it, because you can still go back to the EB2, because we are 3 years behind approximately, maybe more. Unfortunately, these are the kind of answers I cannot give you, because I cannot predict how things are going to unfold. But going ahead, I personally would probably go ahead and get the EAD for him, and then depending how things unfold every year, you decide if you want to move back to EB2. Let's say, for example, you are in EB3 right now, right? And I told you 2 more years, right? 2 more years. Right now he's 18. He's not going to turn 21 until, I don't know,
2013, right? Yeah.
Okay, 2023 you mean, right? 2023, so that means we have 3 years in our hand. A lot of things will happen in 3 years. So if we see EB2 going forward on a final action, what you do, you go ahead and you upgrade your EB3 into EB2 back to EB2. Nothing prevents you from doing that. And then your son will just follow on that. And hopefully, now, let's say none of this worked. The answer is yes, you should go for the F1. Will they give him the F1 based on that? The answer is probably yes, but there's no guarantee, because the F1 is a non-dual intent visa, so when you have all these things filed, they have a right to refuse it. But from my experience, they have not refused it so far. So hopefully he will be able to get on his F1, and ultimately you can get an H1, and if nothing works, once you get your green card, you go ahead and file for him, and then he gets his green card. In the meantime, let him continue on the F1 until later, maybe move to H1, etc. But let's hope within those 3 years you get something and he gets it with you. Okay?
Okay, sure. So net basically, even if we file his EAD, as long as we are not using it, we can still be able to file F1 if required.
No.
Still having
using it or not doesn't make any difference. It is the same thing, because even you don't file for him, they have a right to say, hey, basically you have an immigrant intent because your parents will include you ultimately. So whether you use the EAD or not, it won't really make a difference. But in this case, he's going to school on H4 probably right now. Let him just keep it this way. Use the EAD only if it is necessary. Keep the H4, H1 alive so that he can keep the H4. And then, as the situation unfolds over the years, you can always give me a call and I will analyze further. Because at this point in time, there's no way I can use a timeline to give you an answer. Okay?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure, sir.
Good luck to you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you very much for calling in. We have 2 more callers holding on to the line, Shah, so let's speak to them quickly. Hello, you're on air with Attorney Shapirali.
Yeah. Hello, Mr. Shah. I have some questions on EAD itself, some general questions. So say I'm on EAD and and I lose my job and then the EAD expires, and say I haven't renewed my EAD and I've not maintained my H1B status. Am I considered on status? Am I legally allowed to stay in US at that point in time?
Okay, that's a good question. So you have an adjustment of status file, and you have just not filed the EAD, right? That's what you're saying?
We have filed EAD, and EAD is going to expire, and I also lose my job at that time. So am I considered on status, like after I lose my job, and EAD also expires?
Okay, you are not in status, but you're not really illegal. That's the difference. Status means you have like an H1B, H4, etc. What you have is what we call a period of authorized stay by the Attorney General under Section INE 245A, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so what it means is that as long as the case is pending, the adjustment of status is pending, you are legal. Now, the EAD expires or not, the EAD is just a proof of work. It has nothing to do with keeping you legal. So the main part is that I-485 form, adjustment of status. As long as this is pending, you are safe. But I would recommend refiling your EAD because EAD doesn't work like other things. You don't have to have the EAD. When you have the EAD, then nothing prevents you from taking a break or not working. It's not like H1B. But just file the EAD. The reason I recommend filing the EAD is like if you get stopped or some kind of issues happen, you can actually kind of use that in your favor. Okay?
Okay, I see. So can you actually renew EAD without a job?
Of course. I-485. So are you the main applicant or you're the dependent?
Say I'm the main applicant. Can I renew EAD if I don't hold a job currently?
Yes, because but give me a call because we don't have much time. We can do a consultation. I'll guide you what to do because you need to do a supplement J as soon as possible, and I give you all the options what you need to do to protect the green card. Okay? Because it's not the EAD which is the issue. We have to protect the green card for the future. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much for calling in. We are about 2 minutes away from the end of the show. We have
let me take that one caller quickly. 1 minute.
Hello, you're on air with Attorney Shabir Ali. Please go ahead.
Shabir bhai, assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum salam, brother. How are you?
मोहम्मद जी लास्ट के 2 मिनट हैं, फटाफट आपका क्वेश्चन पूछ लीजिए, टाइम खत्म हो रहा है.
Shabir bhai, do I need to go to Islamabad for my wife immigration, and I have an American passport holder. Do I need any appointment with them?
No, you don't need. It's your wife. I think you called last time, right? Yep. Your wife's case.
Oh yeah, you're right. So I just somebody told me that if I go to Islamabad, so they might help you.
No, no, it doesn't work this way. You might.
Oh really?
Usually, no. People will just tell you a lot of things. So
Mohammed ji, I would suggest if you have more questions, क्योंकि आपको किसी ने बताया और आपको क्लैरिटी चाहिए, आप अटॉर्नी शाबिर अली को शो के बाद उनके ऑफिस नंबर पे फोन कर लीजिए.
Please. Okay. Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much for calling in. Number है 510-742-5887. Last minute show.
Thank you so much for calling. We had a very, very good show today, and I thank you all. So anything I told you today is my opinion. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any questions. The number to our office, 510-742-5887. As I said, we are filing I-45, downgrade, etc. Call us if you need help, 510-742-5887. Thank you, Ira. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back next week, same time.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Thank you very much for being here, Attorney Shah. Listeners, you can get in touch with Attorney Shabir Ali once again. His office number is 510-742-5887. That's 510-742-5887. The website is peerallylaw.com. That's PEERALLYLAW.com. To get more information about his practice and his team. And also remember, he will be back with us next week, same time, same place. You stay tuned to Radio Zindagi. Cheers.